more right from Doug's mouth today. If it is 6 weeks, that puts him on track to be available for the September 26th game in Green Bay, which I think is the fourth game of the season. So you really have to hope Wentz stays healthy for 3 weeks, which I think he will. And they're just going to stay the course here with Cody Kessler, who, has some definitely room for some improvement. And Clayton Thorson just looks, the rookie from Northwestern looks like a mess. He hasn't had a good camp. He had a horrible first game, but again, he's a rookie. Peterson said, I was a rookie once, and, I was a little shaken out there, and I was erratic with my throws, and it took him a little while to get his feet on the ground. But, we'll see if Thorson's able to do that. Now, the concern for me is getting through preseason with just two quarterbacks, because, Carson Wentz won't play more than, 2 or 3 series over these final 3 games. So are you going to just ride 2 quarterbacks, or what if one gets hurt? Then you're kind of playing one guy a whole game, and then what if he gets hurt? So they really do need to, I think, add another arm. It won't be Kaepernick. I doubt it will be Sam Bradford. It probably has to be a guy who's comfortable coming in, knowing that he's only going to have a job for about 3 weeks and then be unemployed again. But just somebody that they can kind of throw out there in these preseason games, so Kessler and Thorson don't have to go the whole way and risk injury. So I don't know if there's anybody out there that is willing to do that. Maybe, Matt McGloin, I don't know what he's doing, or Joe Callahan, I think, was picked up by somebody.
Where's Jimmy Clausen these days?
I don't know. I think he sent me an insurance quote the other day, but I'm not sure.
Right. He might be the guy that can come in for 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. There's some talk about possibly Josh Johnson, who was, I think, in the NFL 2 years ago with the Redskins. But, again, these are just guys that are really just guys that are going to be camp arms for the final 3 games. I don't think they're going to make anything of an impact move with a Bradford or a Kaepernick. I think they're just going to stay the course with what they have. Sudfeld's coming back. I mean, even if it's an 8-week injury or 7-week injury, it brings him back in early October. And again, you really have to hope Wentz can stay upright for that amount of time. And again, I think he will, and I think the Eagles believe he will, but you just don't know.
Hey, Ed, you guys are coming off of a pretty significant loss, 27-10 against the Titans. Again, it's preseason, and those that aren't in the industry and that aren't on a team or aren't part of a team maybe like to call the preseason pretend football doesn't really mean anything. But we were talking earlier with Adam Jivden, a big Brown Superfan, about their win against the Washington Redskins and the statement that makes to the community or the world, if you will, that the Browns are there. Are the Titans making a statement against a former Super Bowl champion of the Eagles, or is it just pretend football, preseason, it doesn't really matter? What are your takeaways from the loss?
Well, I don't think you really make any statements in preseason. I think the Patriots one year, they won the Super Bowl. They won 0-4 in the preseason. The Eagles didn't dress 17 players that are going to be, a big part of this team. Obviously, Wentz didn't play. Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, Malcolm Jenkins, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox. You can just go down the line. Their whole starting team did not play. So it was more just kind of a test for the backup guys. Now, one of the concerns that my takeaway would be is, so much has been made about the depth on this roster, top to bottom, and how difficult it's going to be to cut down to 53 players. I think some of that might have been exposed a little bit. Some of these D-backs didn't play well. Their pass rush was kind of non-existent from their backups. Which is a concern. So the Eagles, they traded for a pass rusher yesterday, Eli Harold, who was a third-round pick in 2015. This will be his 4th team in that time, but he's got 9 career sacks. He had 4 for Rick Riggen's Lions last year. The guy can rush the passer. And it was a weird trade because the Eagles traded an undrafted free agent rookie tackle from Penn State to get Eli Harold from the Bills. And Ryan Bates is the tackle they traded for him. So it's kind of weird that a kid that didn't even get drafted was traded for a player with a history of, success in the NFL. So we'll see how Harold does. Today's his first day. Sure, he won't do much, but, he's a guy that adds some depth at that defensive line spot. But as far as to answer your question, Tom, I don't take a lot out of the preseason, not with what happened Thursday. And really not with what happened anywhere across the league. It's great the Browns won. It's well and good, but really it means nothing.
Well, the Colts lost, and I am with you. It means nothing. But I did like Jacoby Brissett. Let's get into the Colts thing, but real quickly, next preseason game, you guys go down to Jacksonville. Obviously, that's the home of Jolly-O St. Nick. I don't predict that Wentz and Nick will meet each other on the field as far as in the field of play, but there'll have to be some sort of reunion, if you will, of congratulating one starter quarterback to another.
Yeah, for sure. There'll be a lot of that going on, but I think that there probably will be an agreement that they'll each play a series. That would be my guess. So we may see Wentz and Foles for one series and then back to the bench. Maybe Foles goes a little longer. I don't know the situation in Jacksonville. But, Marcus Mariota played a series for the Titans, and he's their starter. He won a series Thursday night. So each team approaches these things differently. I know Doug Peterson doesn't give a whole hoot about the preseason, as evidenced by who he plays and who he rests. He prefers to count on the practices. He works the guys pretty hard in practices, and he says, we really get our good work out on the practice field, and they get good game film, and he can control things a little better. Where in a preseason game, you really can't control what happens, for injuries, for example. But I think Wentz really should play a series. His last time on the field was December 9th against the Cowboys. They lost in overtime, and then they shut him down with a back injury. So I think that it would behoove them to at least get him a series on Thursday. And I think they will. Like I said, I think him and Peterson and Marone might have a gentleman's agreement. Hey, let's play our starters. Bring a little juice here, if only for a series.
Rick Riggen, you are our official contributor, college football contributor, but we know you're a big Lions fan, so we'll let you play the homework card of the Lions. Talk about preseason statements being made. It just doesn't feel good, even if it is preseason, even if it isn't with your starters, and even if it isn't a real game. Maybe it's pretend football, but it's always got a sting when you get a loss, 31-3. To the team that you used to be the defensive coordinator for, and that's Patricia, obviously losing 31-3 to the New England Patriots. What are your thoughts about the Detroit Lions 2019?
Well, you just add that the fact that the Lions probably aren't going to win more than like 4 games this year, and I'm still a little salty that they get rid of Jim Caldwell, who did nothing to the playoffs 2 out of 3 years. For a guy that's going to win 4 or 5 games every year now. So that still makes no sense to me. I've always just kind of been on the fence about Patricia anyway, but I'm leaning towards, the side of the fence that already wants to do away with Matt Patricia because, I don't know. And I tell you something else. Maybe the problem is Matt Stafford also. Maybe that's part of the problem. It sounds crazy, I know, but maybe they need to start looking for a different solution at quarterback at some point in the next couple of years. I know he's got that big contract, but he also might be the problem. Crazy as that sounds. And I do think because of the longevity of his career, he doesn't get injured, he'll have the numbers to get to the Hall of Fame, even if he never wins a playoff game. But maybe we start looking at the quarterback position as well.
Go ahead, Ed. I thought you were directing a question, Ed. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's an interesting point from Rick there. I don't know how long Stafford's been with the Lions, but you're right. He hasn't won a playoff game. Maybe the numbers there. I don't know if the numbers alone get you into the Hall of Fame. My frame of reference is with the Eagles, and I know there's some players with numbers that should be in the Hall of Fame but didn't have that postseason success. Guys like Harold Carmichael come to mind, a receiver from the early 70s when the Eagles were winning 2-3 games every year. But his numbers were off the charts, better than some of the guys in the Hall of Fame. But as far as the Lions and their quarterback, that's an interesting I guess he's been there 8 years now, and I'm not sure of that.
It's been a while. I think he came in the year after they went 0-16 or something, came in that very next year. So it's been a long time.
Right. Yeah, I think Jim Schwartz was still the head coach there.
Right.
You're right. It's been a good run.
I like Jim Schwartz, actually, but, he just –
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're
it's
right.
that franchise.
If your quarterback's not getting it done for, a decade, then maybe it is time to, go in a different direction. Especially, you just can't keep replacing the head coach, and expect a different result, sooner or later you have to take a good hard look at that roster, and the roster always starts at the top at the quarterback.
Talking with Ed Kracz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles, and footballmaven.io/Eagles. You can check out his work there. He's calling us live from the practice field at Philadelphia, where the Eagles were doing practice. What's practice looking like today, there, Ed?
Well, I was just going to say, get ready for some noise, man. Eagles are in goal line situation, coming right at me. I'm standing right behind the end zone. That they're Wentz. It's 11-on-11 goal line drill, and Wentz just takes it in for a touchdown off the sweep. You can hear the crowd cheer. I mean, this is happening right in front of me right now. Live goal line drills, full pads. This is good stuff there.
Love it. Full access with Ed Kracz. Obviously, we had a loss to the. I speak of we. Everybody knows I mean the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts had a loss on the road to Buffalo. It was okay. I mean, again, I'm going with the fact that because it's a Hummer card with me, it doesn't mean anything. I don't care. But Jacoby Brissett was good, and we're starting to get a little jittery, but local media, Frank Reich, everybody just says that it's okay, but we're seeing now that Luck is going to miss a few more practices. We got the Browns coming up at home next Saturday. I'll be there. And, of course, we've got the Bears as well before we start the season off. We hear professional medical doctors say that, not just with Luck, but the calf injury is a tissue-type injury. And what happens with that is one injury can beget another if you rush the healing process. We'll start with you, Ed. What are your thoughts about Andrew Luck missing even more time with practice? I'm not concerned yet. I'm still hanging on the words of Frank Reich when he says everything will be okay. But, man, we are gun shy from what we saw a few years ago.
Yeah. Nice catch by Deshaun Jackson there in the corner. Well, look, I mean, preseason, there's still 3 games left. And, again, how many series is he going to play? You're right, one injury begets another, but you want to really be careful at any position, especially quarterback. And, if he's not right, let him get right. I mean, you have 2 weeks to get right, and, I think he'll be fine. I've seen Carson Wentz his rookie year. He played, I think, maybe 4 snaps. His first preseason game as a rookie, broke his ribs, didn't play again, and he ended up being the starter that year and did pretty well. So, I mean, I think some of this preseason work can be overrated. I think especially when you're a veteran like Luck, you don't want to lose him for the season. I know the Eagles take it very slowly with their injured players. Like we haven't seen Fletcher Cox, who's rehabbing from a foot injury, Derek Barnett. There's several players that they're taking it very slowly with Rodney McLeod, a safety, just because, they're probably close to 100%, if not 100%. I think McLeod especially could play if the season started tomorrow. But, why? What's to be gained from it? And that's the same situation with Luck. I know there's a lot of angst in Indianapolis, but I would just say relax, take a deep breath. He'll be fine. And you want to have him for 16 meaningful games, not one meaningless preseason game.
Ed, this is our official 2019 NFL preview. Obviously, we can't get through all of the teams. Next week, we'll be doing our official mock draft for fantasy football talk and gurus. But as you just look around the league, or is there anything that stands out to you that we should be looking at, who we should be watching, any I's to dot or T's to cross as we go into week 2 of the preseason?
Well, I know, the Raiders have that distraction with Antonio Brown, but, and they have the Hard Knocks, cameras coming through. But, they're, I think, a team to watch once the regular season might get fired up. Been talking to some people about how they like their roster. They have a pretty solid roster. So I don't think they'll win the AFC West, but, they could be a team that can make some noise. The San Diego Chargers are a team that I still like a lot as far as maybe making a good Super Bowl run. In the NFC, it's really kind of anybody's ball game. I think the Giants got off to a pretty good start. I know there was some excitement for Daniel Jones, their rookie quarterback, who went 5 for 5 in his preseason debut. I think a lot of it was some easy passes for him, though. Pat Shurmur as a veteran coordinator. Gave him some easy throws. I did think he made one nice throw into the end zone for a touchdown. So, we'll see what happens in New York.